Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we are looking at the Creative Beast Studio Cyberzoic FireClan Fire Guard, as well as the Razorhound armor. These are, of course, both two components to the Aquilabator set. So you get the Aquilabator, which I have had for a while now. I, have already unboxed him or her, your choice. But these are the sort of mount and the armor to go along with the Aquilabator. So I'm very, very excited to get these, as Cyberzoic is maybe my sort of most anticipated line, the line that I'm sort of most excited about getting and opening and playing with, because these things are just so cool. Anyway, let's take a look at the Fire Guard. So he comes on this very cool blister card, nicely shaped blister card, nicely shaped blister as well. They didn't sort of skimp and just give you a rectangle for the card or a rectangle for the blister. And you can see everything that's in there, with a bunch of glare. So maybe you can't, but you get the figure, you get the accessories, you get the knives, you get the alternate head, the hands. The Fire Guard is, of course, a Raptor Rider / troop. Says so right on the box. There you get the art on the back. We get the Aquilabator art as well as a bio for the rider, and then some cross-sell for some of the other products available in the first wave of Cyberzoic. And then we move on to the Razorhound armor and the Cyberzoic box that I absolutely love. Not just a square, not just like a angular sides, but they get these sort of different lines going on here, which I absolutely love. The Fire Clan logo and Fire Clan branding. I got to point this out that each clan has a different color. So the Fire Clan gets orange. So you see the orange, on the edge of the box and along the bottom. You also get orange all around the card. So it's very, very cool what they're doing in terms of, letting you know sort of where these guys stand, which tribes they're in, which clans they're in, all that kind of stuff, with the packaging and sort of just use of the sigils and the specific colors and stuff like that. I'm loving all this stuff. Nice big art of the Aquilabator with the armor on and the rider there. Great big window, letting plenty of light in, so if there wasn't a ton of glare, you'd be able to sort of see what's in there. But it's going to get out of the box in a minute, so don't worry. On the top, we get another window, so there's lots of light getting in here. So if you're an inbox collector, I think these still actually work. They still look pretty good. On the one side, you get the Fire Clan sigil. On the other side, you get that art again. On the back, we get the actual pictures of the Razorhound unit, as well as sort of fully kitted up version, and then a bit of a cross sell for the other two elements that you will need to sort of complete the set, I guess, as well as some specs on the back there for the armor, as well as some description of the features that you get with the action figure. Now, the action figure in this case is an armor set, but kind of doubles as an action figure in its own right, which is super, super cool. I am very, very excited to get this one out of the box and sort of play with it. I might need more of these. I have both of the Aquilabators. And so I have two sets of armors, but I almost feel like I need like one more just to stay as a Razorhound. But, that's a future me problem, I guess. Anyways, let me get these out of the box. So we've got the Fire Guard and the Razorhound out of the box, and these things look phenomenal. They move really nicely. The paint apps are great. There's so much that I like about these. I do have a couple very small sort of nitpicks about the Razorhound, albeit they are, very much, I think, not reasons not to get this, but they are just, little details where I think there's maybe, again, room for improvement. I've said this before with some of the Cyberzoic stuff, the Wave 1 Cyberzoic stuff. I think there's definitely room for improvement with this stuff. But overall, what these guys are trying to do, what Creative Beast Studios is trying to do with Cyberzoic is so ambitious that, the details that I'm going to be criticizing them about are probably more factory issues than they are, creative beast issues, in the sense that they're not related to design. They're not really just, related to execution. They're really just related to, little things that could very easily slip through, that maybe the factory just sort of didn't think about, or just didn't notice, or what have you. But overall, these things are amazing. Let's take a look at the Fire Guard. So, all of the Cyberzoic figures seem to have a few things going on. Single jointed elbows, double jointed knees, articulation in the diaphragm, but not at the waist, alternate heads, alternate sort of pads and armor and things like that. So lots of really, really cool stuff going on with the figures. The Fire Guard has some really nice deco. So Fire Clan, sort of has this sort of earth tony, rustic looking palette with grays and browns, and I mean, it's gold, but it's not the same gold that we see on the technologist figures. So it's a little bit more earthy, a little bit richer, a gold color, more of sort of an orangey gold rather than sort of a yellow gold. Mixed with some gunmetals and some silvers, and it just overall, the theme, the sort of paint scheme is very, very good. What I really like about this as an army builder is that you do get a bunch of sort of alternate ways that you can sort of kit this guy out, and we'll get more into that when we get into the accessories. But altogether, just a very, very good figure, very cleanly done as well. I gotta say, paint app wise, very nice. Very well executed, and again, for a first wave, for a first outing, these things are phenomenal. Next up, we will take a look at the Razorhound itself. This is basically how it comes out of the box. Now, I did take a liberty in heating up the tail to sort of put the tail on, because the tail doesn't feel like an accessory. It feels like something that should be on the figure out of the box, but very, very easy to do that. There's just sort of a joint there that you can just heat up, plug that in, and away you go. But the Razorhound itself, which is going to convert into an armor, don't forget that this is a robot right now, with tons of articulation and tons of character, but it will also become the armor that will go on the Aquilabator dinosaur, to sort of create the unit that is the Aquilabator, with the Razorhound, with the Fire Guard as the rider, as the pilot. But yeah, very, very cool. So you got articulation in the tail, you got articulation sort of at the base of the tail, you got where's the next articulation point? At the neck. You got articulation at the head. The legs have tons of articulation. All four of them have tons of articulation. At the foot, at the ankle, knee, hip. Now, here's one of my criticisms. There's so much articulation in this that it's almost hard sometimes to sort of get it to sit in a pose, because it has a tendency to articulate. It kind of moves a little bit sometimes when you put it down, just under its own weight. So the joints just aren't as tight as I would like them to be. Now, again, that's sort of, something that can be fixed a number of ways. But I think, going forward, wave 2 and future waves will probably, be able to alleviate that. I know that the guys have sort of been dealing with the factory in terms of, fine tuning some of the stuff that they've seen in wave 1 to sort of prevent it happening in wave 2. There's another thing here where there's these little blasters that in the armor mode are meant to be out, but in the robot mode, they're meant to be tucked in, and they don't stay in. I mean, I tuck it in, it just kind of comes back out. So that's a little bit of a criticism, but it doesn't really affect the overall look or feel of the figure in the sort of alternate mode. This is, I consider this sort of the alternate mode, with the armor being sort of the main mode. And you know, if I'm being honest, all four, there's two on the back legs, one on each leg on the back, and then one on each leg on the front, and all four of them kind of do it. And I was hoping that maybe I was getting it wrong, but you know, that maybe there's a trick or something like that, but I can't seem to figure it out. So they're all just a little bit looser than I would like. But again, you know, overall, that doesn't really affect the figure itself and sort of what it is and how it works and how cool it is. The last little thing that I will share, there is this little sort of pteranodon, pterodactyl, Petrie, the drone. I can't remember what they called it, but you know, to me, this feels like a Petrie. So yeah, a little brass drone figure, articulation in the neck, articulation at the head. The wings rotate. I was hoping that they would be on a ball joint, but they're not. You know, they very ambitiously, I think, thought that this would be very much more articulated than it is, and that this would sort of wrap around the leg of the Aquilabator in sort of armor mode. But you know, when we sort of get to the accessories for this set, you know, the Razorhound comes with an alternate version of this that wraps around the Aquilabator's leg. So this, you know, just can remain as a drone, as a separate drone. But very cool. And I mean, if you get a flight stand, you can sort of get them in flight mode and have them flying around like a drone. I think the Creative Beast guys suggested that flight mode for this guy, you can kind of pop the wings off and swap them so that the angle of the wings is a little bit different. I'm fine with this. I mean, I'm happy to just sort of have him fly around like this. You know, it ain't perfect, but who among us is? So I think this is just a really cool addition to the set, and a very cool way of sort of having a dinosaur drone that just adds a little bit more flavor. But yeah, as I said, both of these come with some accessories. So let's take a look at the accessories. Out of the box, the Fire Guard comes with fists, but we get some alternate hands. We get some very small C-grip hands. We get some tiny, expressive open hands. Then we get the alternate head. And this is a pretty good alternate head. I like this. I like this a lot. I like, as an army builder, that you could probably have you know, well, as many as you want, because you get a mask head there sort of on the figure. But with the alternate head, you can sort of have a team leader or a squad leader or something like that. So I think I mean, I got two Aquilabators, I got two Fire Guards, two Razorhounds. So I'm definitely going to have sort of an alternate head and sort of a standard head. You also get an alternate set of the shoulder pauldrons. So the ones that are on there have sort of that vertical fin, whereas these have more of sort of a horizontal stripe. Well, no, I guess it's not horizontal. It's not horizontal at all. What am I talking about? Just an alternate shoulder pad. What am I talking about? I'm overthinking it. The wrist gauntlets there, you get alternate versions of those as well. So you get this version with these sort of cool serrated blades on them as well. Again, for me, these are going to be sort of the squad leader exclusively, versus sort of the standard rank and file is just going to be like that. A couple of blades. So we get two of these shortish blades, gunmetal painted tips, and then black on the handles. They're pretty cool. They're nice. Maybe my only complaint so far about Cyberzoic in terms of the figures is that everybody comes with blades. There's no blasters or anything like that, which, you know, there's the armors all have, you know, energy weapons. So why wouldn't the soldiers? But maybe there's more to that to come in the lore. I don't know. We also get a figure stand, which is stamped with Cyberzoic on one side, and then on the other side, somewhat unfortunately, right where the Cyberzoic is stamped, we also get the Creative Beast Studio, stamp, and made in China. And depending on which side you're looking at, you can kind of see it a little bit better. But it's sort of right where the Cyberzoic thing is, and it tends to catch the made in China thing tends to catch the light a little bit more than the Cyberzoic one, which is a little bit unfortunate, but life goes on. It's just a stand. No one's gonna be looking anyways. We also get a card. So as Creative Beast Studios has sort of always done, they include these sort of cards that go in with the figures. On one side of this card, we get the Fire Clan sigil, and then on the other side, we get the Fire Guard art, as well as a little bit of a bio for the Fire Guard. And in this case, because it's a Cyberzoic card, this is in fact a playable Zoic card as well. I believe it's an ability card called Reinforcements. So this card could be added to your Zoic deck if you're going to be playing the Creative Beast Studios collectible card game. That is actually a playable card in the game, so very, very cool. Cool accessories, I think, for this figure. Again, like I said, as an army builder, it's nice that we have some options. So if you want to do 2 helmeted ones, you can do different shoulders. You could do different shoulders and or different wrist gauntlets, or you can just do the alternate head. I mean, what am I getting at? What I'm getting at is if you wanted all your Fire Guard troops to be different without any additional parts, I mean, I think you've probably got about a half a dozen figures that you could make just with combinations of the parts that we've got, the shoulder pads and the wrist guards. And then even if you're only doing sort of one with the alternate head, I think you've got multiple options. So depending on how uniform you like your troops, I think you've got some really cool options here. Moving on to the accessories with the Razorhound, first of all, we get a stand. So this stand, you get the base, you get sort of the riser, and then you get the 2 adapter pieces. This stand will sort of allow you to sort of position the Razorhound however you like, without sort of worrying about the balance point. And you can get them up on 2 legs, or you can get it jumping or what have you. So these bases, the addition of these bases is really, really cool. Creative Beast Studios offers these as a separate purchase. There's sort of a small, medium, and large versions of them. I believe this is the small version. The medium and large are a little bit more complicated, but having these included with the figures, even if you're never going to use them, and I tend to not use them if I'm being perfectly honest, but having them in there is just kind of a cool value add type thing. I mentioned that Petrie had an alternate sort of piece in the box, and so here is one of those. So this is the one that fits, I believe, on the right leg, and then there's a left leg version as well, so you can sort of get it wrapped around either side, either left or right, and they're just mirrored, so you kind of just get a left and right version of them, which is very, very cool. Those will make more sense when you see the armor on the dinosaur. But basically, when the drone is not in use, it wraps itself around the Aquilabator's leg, and so that's what those sort of represent. Now, for me, because we get all these options, I'm going to have a drone in the air and a drone sort of wrapped around the leg, because I can, because they're there. Why not, right? We get not necessarily an accessory, but like it just doesn't come on the Razorhound in the box. These are the joysticks, I guess, the sort of controllers for the armor, or I guess for the dino when it's sort of on, or when the armor is on the dino. These are the ways to to manipulate it. So they just sort of come separately in the box, as opposed to on the Razorhound. They just plug into the back of the shoulder blades, which I'll show you when I sort of get this guy all geared up. But and then of course just a little bracket here. So this actually locks around the torso of the Aquilabator to lock the Razorhound sort of onto the dino itself. It's not 100% necessary, but it certainly makes the armor more stable on the dino. So that's that piece there. And then we get some blast effects. There's two different blast effects that we get with the Razorhound. We get what I believe is like the small blast effect, and then the extra small blast effect, which is extra small. It's quite small. In addition to that stuff, we get instructions. So the Razorhound comes with the nice big instruction sheet, which is quite big. You know, I'm not going to be able to capture it on the camera. You know, lots of steps, lots of details, very, very clearly marking, you know, how to put the armor onto the Achillobator. And then there's a little additional one, and this is sort of the least exciting piece. So this is how to put the little seat belt on him as well. Now, I think that's important. I think it works better when it's on there, so I'm glad that they included that as well. And then last but not least, just like all the other Cyberzoic stuff, just like all the other beasts, or creative beast stuff, we get an art card, collectible art card that goes with this. So you get the Achillobator with the fire guard on there, and then the Razorhound, sort of the separate Razorhound running in the background there. And you can actually even see the little drone guy flying in there as well. So very, very cool. And then this is also a Zoic playable card. So this is the Beastmaster ability, I guess. I don't know. I haven't played the game yet. I can't wait to play the game, but I haven't played it, so I don't know what exactly, you know, these cards can do in the game. But you also get, you know, a nice picture of the Razorhound, as well as some details about, you know, the firepower and all that kind of stuff. So very, very cool. You know, we got the fire guard, we got the Razorhound. We already had the Achillobator, so really the next step now is to get the Achillobator all geared up with the armor, with the rider, and sort of give my overall impression of, you know, the whole thing, the whole set. So let me save you the trouble of sitting through watching me put the armor on. I'll just get them all geared up, and then I will give my overall impressions. All right, so I've got the fire guard with the alternate head, alternate shoulder armor, alternate wrist gauntlets. Kind of went, like I said, with the sort of squad leader look there. With the Razorhound all installed on the Achillobator, looking very, very mean, looking very fast, looking very dangerous. This thing is super, super cool and super fun. I do wish that it was a little bit more secure, that it was a little bit more sort of, you know, user-friendly, in the sense that I love my toys to be toys, and this feels like a great display piece. But as soon as you start moving it, you know, it does require some patience, and you know, every time you sort of move a part of the dino, you got to kind of move the armor to match, and then kind of move the rider to match as well. So that's you know, not a criticism so much as it is just an observation that you know, this is not Dino Riders in that sense, but you know, Dino Riders was rigid plastic, you know, almost snapping onto rigid plastic, and this is not that at all. So I think that's more of an expectation thing and a perspective thing. These are fantastic. I love these, and I, you know, am going to be playing with them in a different way. I'm going to be playing with them in a gentler way, in a more refined, sophisticated way, I guess. But if you're somebody that kind of takes the time to pose things and, you know, photograph things and then kind of display them and not really move them around as much, these are perfect. If you are like me and you like to play with things and sort of bang things into each other and, you know, really get down in the dirt with these things, I think these are still for you. You can kind of limit, you know, how much of the armor you put on, and sort of pick and choose what you sort of, you know, build out as far as different dinos, different armor, stuff like that. But altogether, the Cyberzoic line, as I said, very, very ambitious, and they're doing really, really great things. And I can't wait to see what they do going forward. So, yeah. This is awesome. If you don't have it already, I would still strongly recommend that you go and get it before they sell out. Creative Beast Studio has a habit of selling things out and then letting the sort of extinction take its course and not necessarily refilling. So if you're on the fence about these, I would strongly recommend you pick one up sooner rather than later. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you don't want to miss future videos, hit the bell icon to get notifications. Until next time, bye-bye.